Coming up on AgweekTV, we continue our Agweek cereal crops tour with yield prospects for wheat, barley, and oats.
We'll tell you about a calf sale coming up this fall in honor of a special little boy.
I'll show you how a small community takes big pride in its agriculture.
And the Equity Drive resumes for a first-of-its-kind shrimp production project. Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Michelle Ruck. Congress continues to work on a second COVID aid package, with the Senate Republicans releasing their $1 trillion HEALS Act this week. It provides $20.5 billion in direct funding to Ag Secretary Perdue to use for various purposes, including aid for euthanizing animals. That's on top of the $14 billion the CCC already has to spend. The plan is getting mixed reaction from farm groups who are hoping for a compromise between the Senate and House versions.
Then as we look at the Senate side, the piece that we like there again is the compensation piece for animals that had to be put down. But it's a lot squishier on the payment side, or the direct payments.
The HEROES Act the House passed in May provides $16.5 billion in direct ag aid, so the bills are similar, but the HEALS Act provides no assistance for ethanol. U.S. crop ratings took a big and unprecedented jump higher this week, which was negative for the markets as the trade increased yield prospects. U.S. corn conditions improved 3%, which is unusual for this late in the season, with Nebraska up 9%. Nationally, soybean ratings also jumped 3%. South Dakota and Minnesota continue to lead the nation with the highest ratings. And spring wheat ratings also went up 2% nationally and in the region. To assess the wheat and other cereal crop prospects, last week we kicked off our Agweek crop tour series with 3 stops around the region. We have 4 more this week before returning in late August for our row crop tour. Reporter Jonathan Knutson starts us off in a wheat field near Devil's Lake, North Dakota.
Well, I'm here with Bill Hodis, the veteran Ramsey County Extension agent, in front of a really nice looking spring wheat field. It's starting to turn a little bit. You thinking this could be harvested in the fairly near future?
Yeah, the way the weather looks, we're looking at some good warm temperatures, up in upper 80s, low 90s. I would say 2 to 3 weeks this field will be looking at getting ready for that harvest period.
What do you think this might go, and what do you think about spring wheat fields overall in the county?
Again, if you use all the acres that have been planted and are now flooded out, we lost some average yield. A field like this will probably be in the 70s, could be maybe low 80s, and if you take out the drowned out, we may be down in a field something like this, even though this field doesn't have that problem. We'd be down in the 60s, upper 50s.
Standing in here what looks to be a fine field of durum.
This field is actually planted a couple weeks later than like the last wheat field we looked at. It'll still be okay, we're still looking at a pretty fair yield on it. The disease pressure has been pretty good in general, so we're still going to be looking. Durum is a hard one to tell, but we could be in that 50, 60, maybe even 70 range.
Standing in front of a really nice looking barley field.
This is a really nice crop of barley. It's got potential that 80, 90 bushel, maybe a little bit better, but it does look good, and weed control has been good. And of course, because it was planted early enough, we were able to get some weed control done before all the rains came.
Overall, it's a mixed bag here in Ramsey County. So there was some drown out and prevented planting acres. What is in the ground looks really good. For Agweek, this is Jonathan Knutson near Devil's Lake, North Dakota.
Hey, this is reporter Noah Fish in southeast Minnesota on the Agweek Cereal Crops Tour. I'm talking oats and barley with Extension educator Lisa Benkin.
Most felt real good about the planting season, getting things in on a timely manner. Good growth as well. Very good start to the season. And I think the concern though now, when the grain moves into, this stage, we're filling that grain, we're trying to make the kernels, get good plump kernels, good test weight. We had a lot of heat. And small grain doesn't like the 90+ degree temperatures. It's a cool season crop. And so what we're concerned about is that maybe these high-end yields that we were hopeful for, we've probably lost bushels off the top with some of that high temperature. The other potential concern is we may lose some test weight on some of these fields, again because of that high temperature that really impacts that grain fill.
As far as diseases?
There have been some diseases. The one that we deal with a lot with oats here in southeastern Minnesota is crown rust. It's a disease we always face because we have buckthorn that overwinters the crown rust. We also get crown rust that blows in on our southerly winds that can impact those varieties. But we do find a timely use of a fungicide will really benefit that oat crop in both yield, test weight, and then good quality straw that comes from it.
I guess in general, a good year for small grains in Minnesota, in southeast Minnesota?
In general, it looks pretty good. I think the unknown or the other unknown, what was hurting us last year is we harvested the crop and we also had test weight issues. We had some disease issues, with all the wetness last year, we had test weight problems, and some of that grain became difficult to sell at that point. We're not in that same kind of scenario with the steady rain pattern, so again, hopeful the harvest will come off cleaner and we'll have a better test weight.
For the Agweek Cereal Crops Tour, this is Noah Fish for Agweek.
We'll be back later in this show with more from our Cereal Crops Tour. Still ahead on AgweekTV, we'll see how some parents are holding a calf sale to raise money for research into their son's devastating disease.
The Agweek Cereal Crop Tour is sponsored by Hefty Seed Company of Wilton and Herdsfield, North Dakota, Calcine, and Steffes Group.
Let's face it, dogs will be dogs and do dog things. Dig things and bury things. Shred things, tear things, bark at things. And, above all, dogs are going to eat dog things. At least you can support digestive health at mealtime. Exclusive Signature with Comfort Care is a unique combination of researched ingredients to support digestive health today while preparing your pets for what comes tomorrow.
Advanced Grain Handling is your regional dealer for grain handler dryers, bins, and accessories. With Grain Handler's continuous mixed flow drying systems, you're capable of high levels of grain dryer efficiency on all types of grain, including seed grain. Advanced Grain Handling also carries West Steel's quality stainless steel products for on-farm and commercial grain storage solutions. Advanced Grain Handling has licensed and trained service techs and a licensed electrical shop. Get a hold of Chad Kylo to find the perfect solution for your farm.
When you think about it, productivity starts at planting. So it's time to rethink how productive your planter can be. We did with the new Case IH 2000 Series Early Riser Planter. We rethought your row unit so it's tougher, more accurate. We rethought your meter, took the most precise technology, factory installed it. We rethought every inch of the Case IH Early Riser Planter to make it the most productive planter around. And if you think about it, that's exactly what you want.
This is Dennis Beliski reminding you we do auctions and we do them well. You've built your operation with hard work, and when it's time to sell, all or part, you deserve the best. Details from repairs and preparation to promotion and settlements are not routine. Chances are you'll only do this once, so we'll tailor an auction just for you and get it done right. On-site at your farm or added to one of our highly successful Alaris Center auctions, we have the skill, reputation, and integrity to meet your needs with best-in-class commitment and quality service. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Welcome back. When a Montana ranch family got a devastating diagnosis about their young son's health, they did the only thing they could. They turned to their ag community to help them raise money for research. Jenny Schlecht has more in this week's Ag Week cover story.
Charity walks and runs might work for some people, but the Heaton family of Worden, Montana picked something a little more their style when they learned their son had Duchenne's muscular dystrophy.
It was really hard. I mean, it's just life-shattering. It changes the way you look at everything and think about things.
We didn't know until he was 3 he was having some trouble walking. You don't expect it or want it. There's nothing you can do for it. I mean, and it's a pretty hopeless feeling.
Grant Heaton is a typical 6-year-old boy, helping around the farm and looking forward to kindergarten. What's your favorite thing to do?
Make things.
Make things? Like what kind of things?
Like airplanes, lots of stuff out of cardboard and paper.
But he has a serious degenerative disease, and there are very few treatments for his condition.
There's no cure for Duchenne. Boys with it don't make it out of their 20s, and there's really no treatment either other than what we're doing, you know, physical therapy and steroids.
But the Heatons say one thing they can do is raise money for research.
One thing that's kind of in common is agriculture. Laura and I were talking and thought, hey, why don't we do a calf sale?
Out there's our pasture. Your cows are here.
Last year's sale raised more than $17,000 for research for Duchenne's muscular dystrophy.
Hopefully with the sale, calf sale, we can raise some money, get research out there and find a cure for this terrible disease.
The sale is scheduled for September 17th at Billings Livestock Commission. In Billings, Montana, this is Jenny Schlecht for Agweek.
And you can read more in the next Agweek magazine or at agweek.com. The True Shrimp Company has resumed the equity drive for its first-of-a-kind $331 million indoor shrimp production facility in Madison, South Dakota. Investor meetings were slowed by the pandemic, but picked back up in Brookings. CEO Michael Ziebel says they have 70 individual investors in various companies involved in Madison Bay Harbor, and interest is growing.
We have a target of about $45 million for common equity in the True Shrimp Company proper. And then, of course, with the help of Bank of America, we are looking for the project financing to build the facility.
Madison will be the first commercial-scale harbor and one of many they're planning around the country.
Madison Bay Harbor will have the capacity to produce 4.6 million pounds of shrimp annually and about 9,000 kilograms of chitosan.
True Shrimp is also building a processing facility in the Sioux Falls area. They want to wrap up financing in 2020 and start building in 2021. Coming up on AgweekTV, we'll continue our cereal crops tour with stops in North Dakota and Minnesota.
At Superior Grain Equipment, we're committed to quality and service, offering you the best in grain storage and dryers for any size operation. Our experts will work with you to determine the most efficient and economical storage solution for your needs. We help protect your bottom line and your future with the industry's best bins and warranties. Make the superior choice for protection today and tomorrow with Superior Grain Equipment.
Add more bushels to your hopper and money to your pocket by harnessing the power of air with Crary Wind Systems. Whether your beans are chest high or barely off the ground, Crary offers two solutions that add a constant stream of high-velocity air to quickly feed crop back to the auger, eliminating bunching, reducing shatter loss, and increasing your ground speed. Don't let crop conditions dictate your yield. Check out the Crary Air Reel or Crary Wind System today.
Keep your equipment in the field when you need it most with parts from Titan Machinery. We carry a full line of high-quality Case IH parts designed for optimal performance and durability. We also carry alternative parts options at lower price points with rugged designs for a great mix of affordability and performance to fit a wide variety of makes and models. Contact your local Titan Machinery location today or shop online at www.titanmachinery.com. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH parts leader.
Be ready for the challenging field conditions you face with the Summers VRT Renegade. With on-the-fly adjustment, including blade angle from 0 to 19 degrees, the VRT Renegade gives you unprecedented flexibility for the field results you want, spring or fall. Go to summersmfg.com or visit your local dealer to learn more about the VRT Renegade and North America's broadest line of tillage equipment from North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing.
Change is constant in the ag industry. Stay ahead of the change with the latest ag news and insights from experienced ag journalists with an Agweek membership. Get unlimited access to ag markets, tech trends, policy news and products, along with farm life insights, profiles, and more with light access. Upgrade to All Access and get unlimited access to all of our FCC news sites, along with your award-winning ag news. Become a member today at agweek.com/subscribe for the ag news you need.
Crop ratings improved in much of the region this last week with some timely rains, but what's ahead for the rest of August? Here's our agri-weather outlook.
It's August. We can finally put July behind us, and overall, from the Climate Prediction Center here, we are looking at another mild and warm month for many of us. However, those of us that live into the northern plains, the Dakotas, upper Midwest, and the northern western parts of Minnesota, no real clear sign of any major heat building in. It looks like we're in for a comfortable summer month, at least for the first half of August. And this is how we break down the temperature outlook here for the first week in August, August 2nd here through the 8th. Overall, we'll be watching a ridge building up to our west across the central and eastern portions of Montana. That'll bring above average temperatures for the four corners across the good chunk of the west. Meanwhile, we'll have a dip in that jet stream and high pressure system building in, and that'll lead to some below average temperatures across parts of the Great Lakes and parts of the Midwestern areas. And for us in the North Dakota side, South Dakota, and on the Minnesota side, we'll be right on the line from the heat to the cooler weather, which means very comfortable temperatures, likely 70s and 80s heading our way for this first part of August. And let's go walk through the temperature trend here. Again, you can see by the colors that hot weather stays out west. We stay on the mild side, cooler on the southern side of the Hudson Bay, way up north. And then overall, again, as we go throughout the first week in August, we stay on that mild pattern. Heat stays off to our west. But watch what happens as we close out this first week of August here. Saturday, August 8th here, I think we'll see some more of that warmer weather building back in. Wouldn't be surprised if we roll out a mid to upper 80, trying to sneak their way back into parts of the Dakotas and upper Midwest. And overall precipitation chances here for a good chunk of the lower 48 will remain on the drier side. Just a few small token rain chances shaping up for the first week in August. But again, not a whole lot of moisture will be squeezed out of this jet stream here over the next several days. But the tropics will be picking up. We'll be watching the eastern coast here very closely here as we go throughout August and September, as again the tropics do look to really ramp up across parts of the area once again. Overall, look at the drought monitor here. We are still dealing with some drier conditions out across the northeastern side of Minnesota. Western and central North Dakota dealing with some drier conditions as well, but we're nowhere near as severe as what's going on across the four corners and across parts of the Pacific Northwest here, where there is some exceptional drought conditions starting to develop across parts of that area. And overall, as we take a look at the precipitation outlook here going into the second week of August, August 9th through the 15th here, drier conditions expected out west and across the Great Lakes portions, and we'll see some off and on scattered showers and thunderstorms developing for the Dakotas and parts of Minnesota as we head into the second week of August. So this is how we break it all down here on the headlines. Mainly low to mid 80s across the northern plains for the first 2 weeks in August. We're tracking widely scattered rain showers through mid-August, and again keeping a close eye on the tropics as we go throughout August.
North Star Ag is proud to add some exciting new products to their lineup this summer, including Meyer Manufacturing forage boxes, Myers Equipment manure spreaders, H&S beet carts, and Summers Manufacturing land rollers and tillage. This August, North Star Ag will be moving to a convenient new location just off I-94 in Tower City, North Dakota. We look forward to seeing you there.
Luckin Trucks and Parts sells quality used parts for all makes and models. With over 50 acres of trucks and parts and new inventory arriving daily. Family owned and operated since 1966, Luckin's specializes in the sale of quality used medium to heavy duty truck parts as well as pre-owned trucks, trailers, and construction equipment. If it's on a truck, we got it. Call us today and let us get you your part.
2020 has started off where 2019 left off, with a lot of uncertainty and concern. Is your farming operation ready to take the volatility this year has to offer? Do you have a marketing plan in place to take advantage of opportunity? Are you finding it hard to separate the noise from the news? Talk to the professionals at Martinson Ag. We can help you make sound risk management decisions that will help your operation survive during these unusual times.
Steffes Group, selling land and the equipment to farm it since 1960. If you're interested in selling or have questions about our auction process, head to our website at steffesgroup.com to contact us at any one of our 4 locations located throughout the Midwest. You can also visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel to view all of our auction previews and recaps to stay up to date on the market in your area.
We're going to talk today about a revolutionary auto steer product that you guys have developed.
We back one of these things in, it'll drain a 40-acre patch just within hours.
What can you tell us about what dairy farmers do to make sure that their animals are happy?
Their care is our primary concern.
Is there still time for producers to get storage bins up?
Absolutely. We still can definitely get something up and ready for corn harvest.
The Agweek Cereal Crop Tour is sponsored by Hefty Seed Company of Wilton and Herdsfield, North Dakota, Calcine, and Steffes Group.
Welcome back to AgweekTV. As we continue our cereal crops tour, we first head north to Crookston, Minnesota, where Mikkel Pates checks out the spring wheat crop.
We're here today for the Agweek Cereal Crops Tour. Joachim Wiersma here.
The crop overall was shorter to begin with. That had to do with the dry conditions earlier in the season. There is a lot of drown out, just like the water in the back here. There is a lot of fields where you can start seeing the crop walking backwards. With the water and the temperatures that we've had in the last 3 weeks, our old nemesis is starting to show up, Fusarium head blight. I just walked into the yield trials here, and these are trials, this portion on this side that isn't treated with a fungicide. And it wasn't hard for me to find 3 spikelets where you can see the initial infections. We're going to have to start paying attention to how we're going to harvest this crop. We're going to have to see how much damage there is with scab, whether or not we have to start separating fields. Right now I'm worried mostly for the area from probably Crookston north. That area is probably a little bit worse overall for Fusarium head blight compared to the central and the southern valley.
And the average yield is hard to figure out.
It's a difficult estimate. In the best of years, it's almost impossible right now because the crop is starting to get very variable with all these drown out spots and other stresses on this crop.
Thank you very much, Joachim Wiersma. This is Mikkel Pates for the Agweek Cereal Crop Tour at Crookston.
I'm Emily Veal, and today I'm doing a stop on Agweek's 2020 Cereal Crops Tour. Today I'm with Joel Ransom in Castleton, North Dakota, and we are going to be looking at cereals in this region this morning.
I think generally I would say that this barley crop has probably suffered a little bit from the higher temperatures early in the spring. You can see that it's shorter than you'd normally expect. We did have, a period of kind of warm weather in late May that looks like it stunted things. I mean, we're not looking at as tall a crop as we normally would, but it actually filled out. The heads look pretty good. I think we would probably be in that 60 bushel range, which is maybe a little lower than we would typically expect under ideal conditions in this location.
Okay, and have you guys been coming across any pest or disease issues this year?
Well, I mean, if you look into this field, you'll see that there is a little bit of what we call bacterial leaf streak that's been active, but I think it came in late enough that we probably aren't going to see much yield reduction due to that particular disease. We worry about Fusarium head blight, and as you look across here, you can see that there's very little of that in this particular variety. So I think that we can expect this to fill well and probably have really reasonable quality at the end of the day.
Have you guys been seeing any other issues that you've had to deal with?
In the area in general, I would say, we've had some issues with grasshoppers. We've had some recent thunderstorms coming through, and there's been a fair amount of lodging in some areas. Obviously here it looks really, really good.
Thanks, Joel. With Agweek Cereal Crop Tour, I'm Emily Veal.
Still ahead on AgweekTV, we'll show you where they're boasting about the world's biggest sugar beet.
Join us August 8th through the 10th in Huron, South Dakota for the National Red Power Roundup. Come see the history of International Harvester, machinery, and agriculture-related memorabilia. On-grounds fun includes live music, daily parades, exhibits, vendors, and more. Pre-roundup fun starts Friday, August 7th with the Titan Machinery Great Plains tractor and pickup pull in the grandstand. Tickets are on sale now. For more information, log on to redpowerroundup2020.com.
Agweek brings you timely agriculture news from field to fork in digital, print, and television. Fresh every week, join Jenny Schlecht from the Agweek editorial team and me, Al Windmill from the sales and marketing team for a deeper dive into farm and ranch stories, along with guest interviews with personalities from the world of agriculture. If you're involved in farming, ranching, or agribusiness, the Agweek podcast is the show for you.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. Even though we are one of the most food-rich countries in the world, 15 million children don't know where their next meal is coming from. This is unacceptable, and something the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks is working to solve. Instead of accepting that our country lets billions of pounds of surplus food go to waste every year, Feeding America has made it their mission to help families in need by rescuing this food. Through food pantries and meal programs, the nationwide network of food banks provides more than 3 billion meals, serving virtually every community in the United States, including yours. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by visiting feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
For Agweek, this is Mikkel Pates at Watertown, South Dakota.
We'll look at the positive impacts that dairy can have on the community.
A Minnesota couple has put a grain bin to a new use. Spoiler alert, it's not grain.
This elaborate system of tubing with the downhill slope is how Maplewood State Park gathers sap to make syrup.
Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of Agweek TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. The Red River Valley is known for producing big sugar beets, but we're about to show you one that takes the cake. As Mikkel Pates found, Halstead, Minnesota is now home to the largest sugar beet in the world.
The region is known for its larger-than-life tourist attractions like the world's largest pelican, Paul Bunyan and his blue ox babe, but now you can add
the world's largest sugar beet.
Raising sugar beets has been a big deal in the town of Halstead, Minnesota for a long time.
Looking for something to promote our community, and since agriculture is our primary industry here and the economic driver, came up with the idea for the world's largest sugar beet.
Greg Holte's family farms and owns businesses in Halstead, so he's very interested in promoting the community. They raised about $65,000 for the sculpture and park around it, with help from American Crystal Sugar Company and others. They hired Minnesota sculptor Josh Porter to build a 21-foot-tall beet.
We came up with the idea of using a drum from a cement truck as the form, and then that's how we have what we have today.
Holte worked with his son-in-law Jeremy Melting to get the project off the ground. Melting owns a business in town, and as president of the Halstead Business League, he thinks it'll be a great draw.
I think there's a lot of pride behind it. It's a fun idea. It's certainly something that I think gets attention, and it's appropriate. It's deserved because of how much sugar beet production has gone on around this area.
Halstead retailer John Hinckley is excited about the project and is expanding his business next to the park. He was already selling merchandise with the town's slogan, "You can't beat Halstead."
Any chance to bring anybody to town is worth trying anyway and stuff, and it puts their name on the map. You know, some people don't really know where Halstead is or something, but after a while they'll say, you know where the world's largest sugar beet is, and they will know where it's at.
So maybe it's move over Paul Bunyan, you've been beat. For Agweek, this is Mikkel Pates at Halstead, Minnesota.
Sugarbeet Park will eventually include 4 large sugar cubes with plaques on them telling the story of sugar beets in the Red River Valley. That's it for this week's show. Remember to watch next week as we celebrate Agweek's 35th anniversary. We'll have some special stories and chats you won't want to miss. See you then.